Most people call it the fiscal cliff, but Leon Lebrecht calls it the perfect tax storm. And here's why. Most people, when they think of the fiscal cliff, they think of the sequestration cuts, but there are a lot of tax effects from the fiscal cliff. The expiration of the Bush income and estate tax, that's $246 billion. The alternative minimum tax patch, that's $50 billion. The payroll tax holiday, $115 billion. We also have the unearned income Medicare contribution tax, that's $24 billion. Stimulus tax breaks of $27 billion. And then, of course, small annually extended tax breaks of $75 billion. Leon, what are the chances that we're going to get this fiscal cliff deal done?
Boy, that's a tough question. I really think that we're not going completely off the cliff. And the reason is the president at the end of the year is the same president we have next year. And no way that president really wants to give himself a gigantic recession. Just to put it in perspective, understand that the total components of the fiscal cliff come out to about $817 billion, making it the largest tax increase in dollars in all history, making it the largest tax increase as a percentage of GDP since 1942. In fact, if the fiscal cliff were a government, it would be the size of 3.5 Greece's. 28 million people will pay more tax under the AMT patch. The good news is it's really easy to fix. So my sources in Washington are telling us that it seems very eminent that they will fix the AMT patch and they'll push that forward.
What's interesting is we don't hear very much about this. In fact, mostly what we hear about are the sequestration cuts, and we don't hear from, I guess, the average American any concern over their taxes going up.
And the average American should be really concerned about their taxes going up if the Bush tax cuts expire. Again, the good news is no one really wants the Bush tax cut to expire in their entirety. The argument is over who it expires for. The president wants it to expire for the upper two brackets, and the Republicans want it to expire for no one. So we probably will get some kind of a compromise or cobble together a piece. But here's what could happen. If the Bush tax cuts actually expired, if you were a working parent, you had the earned income credit, you would lose that credit. If you had children, you'd lose the child tax credit. If you had kids in college, you'd lose the tuition deduction. If you were married and both of you worked, you'd have to pay more tax on the marriage penalty. If you made over $175,000 in itemized deductions, you'd lose your itemized deductions gradually. So it has got some profound income tax effects on the average individual, but it's probably $3,000, $4,000 for an average American. If you're a high bracket, $16,000, $17,000, $18,000. I mean, it's amazing. I actually redid Mitt Romney's return, and he would have paid an additional $1.6 million of taxes had the Bush tax cuts expired. But the president, on the last hour, on December 23rd, he has to do something, and I would predict he would not let the cliff go over. He wouldn't let us go over the cliff on the Bush tax cuts.